Despite what I said in the previous topic about CommonJS intended for the server, and therefore a big win for Node, CommonJS modules can be used in the browser. I want to just talk about that briefly, and only briefly because we're going to focus on ES modules, vanilla modules for the browser. So I mentioned that CommonJS loads synchronously, so it isn't ideal for the browser. But the structure is simpler, easier to work with than the traditional module pattern. So once again, someone came up with a way to use CommonJS modules in the browser. And the trick is a bundler. Maybe you have heard of a bundler before, or maybe you have used one, but let me explain it. So a bundler was a piece of software that we can run that takes all of our JavaScript files and combines them into one. So everything is listed like we have here. Instead of listing them separately in separate script tags, we would be able to run a little utility. It would pull up each of these JavaScript files. It would combine them together into a single file, and that single file is usually named bundle.js. And then we simply load one JavaScript file named bundle.js using the script tag. Now, these bundlers were coded so that they could read the require and module.export keywords that are available with CommonJS. And by using those keywords, they would combine the files into a single file in a way that each piece of code would have access to the code it needed. So bundlers allow JavaScript developers in the browser to use CommonJS to break their code apart into modules, which gave them an advantage during development. Then when they deployed, they would run a bundler. It would create a single file, and that is what they would use to place in the HTML file. Something like that. All these others would then go away, and yet you'd have access to all of that script. Now, you have heard of some of these bundlers. For example, Browserify was one of the first. Webpack is now one of the most popular. At the end of this section, we will look at Webpack for bundling. We will use ES6 modules, but it could be used for CommonJS or other standards if necessary. So bundlers allowed the use of modules in the browser. All right, let's move on.